Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to Iron United's YouTube channel. I do not know where I'm getting this burst of energy from, because God knows how any West Ham fan has any form of energy after the performance we've seen against Everton on Wednesday night at Goodison Park. We're joined by Dan and Rich. So guys, we have Manchester City, the most informed and playing amazing football team in the Premier League this year. Pep Guardiola is messing around with the squads, he's changing players, fluctuating all the players. They're all still performing to the top bananas. They've won 12 in a row, they're about to break the records, and up steps West Ham. Dan, over to you, mate. Go for it.
Simply, as Rich said before we just went live, we're fucked. It's the only way to put it, isn't it? You know, like, yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot since yesterday. I knew I was going to be jumping on this with you two, and I just, you know, like, some teams have made it hard for them, but we're making it easy for everybody. So yeah, we're gonna get annihilated, aren't we? I think they could break the fucking scoring record. You know, like, if it was 9-1, isn't it? The highest scoring game in the Premier League, I think. Yeah.
And do you know what, Dan?
I reckon they could do that.
Dan, I don't think that's an exaggeration, mate. Like, I think some people will turn around and say, "Oh, calm down, West Ham." That's not an exaggeration at all, because we do not play good football. We're not playing any good football. We're getting excited about drawing 1-1 with Leicester. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, I will touch on a small thing, is that a lot of people were saying that obviously Southampton nearly came away with a point last night, but, you know, Southampton are better than us defensively. They're better than us at pressing the ball. Huddersfield, it happened with them as well. They nearly got a shock result against them, but they're better at defending. They defend as a unit. Look at us. We give so much space, and we pay too much respect, especially to the big teams this season. I honestly just don't see us getting anything from the game other than fucking hiding, basically.
Rich, something that's interesting is only 3.5 years ago David Moyes was up against Pep Guardiola in the Champions League, and now David Moyes finds himself, after losing his job at Manchester United, having been under one relegation with Sunderland and with a struggling West Ham team, he's not won a game yet, and he's stepping up against this very exciting prospect of a Manchester City team. What is he going to do?
Oh, I think we don't know. I mean, what chance do we have, given the fact that we've conceded 3 against Brighton, 4 against Everton, and now we're playing against the best team in the league? I mean, away from home, I don't think we have a chance at all, really. What I do know that David Moyes will do is he'll try to be as compact as possible. That's what he came to do, in my opinion, when he joined West Ham, but that's gone out the window, as we saw last night. But hopefully we can just stay as compact as possible. I don't know what team he's going to go with, personally. I think he might ring a few changes, but I think we're just going to have to sit back and try to play on the counter attack and hope for the best. So yeah, I have no idea what he's going to go with, personally.
I mean, if we go back even further and we look at the stats, Moyes has relished some trips with his previous club at Everton. I'm looking at some of the stats here. He's won on 4 of his last 6 visits as Everton manager to the Etihad or to Manchester City, and so he's got a little bit of pedigree there. But does that count? Does that count?
Nah, that's before the money, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's before the money. You know, it's a long time. People don't realise how long ago it was that he was Everton manager now. What is it, like 4 or 5 years ago, something like that? It is a bit of a time ago now. City are a different team. Way different team now. Look at them. They've potentially got one of the best midfields in world football. They're up there, and they're playing like a proper fucking good team as well now. They're scary. You know, like, I come on here. I try to come on at least once a week, and I say it to you especially, and every time, pace murders us. And look at the state of that team. I reckon their centre backs are faster than our team. That's how jam packed they are with pace, though. Like, it's ridiculous.
I tell you what, though, like, the energy we were finding to do these shows is for pure and utter comedy value, because it's become a comedy. It's become a comedy show, and you're totally valid points. Like Sterling, I think he's got 9 goals this year. Sané, he's got 6 or 7 goals. De Bruyne's got 4 or 5. Aguero's got 9. Jesus has got 8. But then on top of that, Look at all their assists that all those players I've named have got. And you said they've all got pace. They've all got pace. And I tell you something.
Yeah, I mean,
so Rich, on you go.
I mean, the frightening thing is the squad depth. Someone like Yaya Toure has barely played in the Premier League, and that's a player, in my opinion, that walks into almost any Premier League team.
Yep.
Now, when you've got that kind of squad depth, it's just it's frightening. And look what Liverpool did to us at the London Stadium. I mean, Mohamed Salah just absolutely wrecked through our team. City have that pace in abundance. Leroy Sané didn't even play last night. He should come straight back in my opinion. Sané, De Bruyne, Aguero, Jesus, just spells goals.
Rich,
I mean,
you've nailed it there. Like they made changes last night, and there's a strong possibility that Guardiola is going to put out his strongest side because he's got his players available, and if he's made a few rests, then why is he not going to do that against a West Ham side that's struggling, that's conceding a lot of goals? Why wouldn't Guardiola want to do that?
He's after that title at the end of the day. You know, he wants to score as many goals as possible. And the scary thing about it, the most scary thing about it is that you're going to probably have Aguero and Jesus playing off each other up front. They like to rotate that. You're going to have probably Sané down one wing. You're going to have Sterling down the other. You're going to have De Bruyne sitting in the midfield. That's going to murder us. But then the where it gets scary is then you look to the bench and you're probably going to have your Yaya Tourés. You're going to have Bernardo Silva. It's crazy. It's mental. How can you compete with that? Especially when you're playing the way we are at the moment. You just can't compete with it.
No, you really can't. And I mean, Moyes has got 3 games under his belt as West Ham manager. He has got 1 point, one from Leicester, lost against Watford, lost on Wednesday night against Everton. Again, he's stepping into the next 3 games, the next really 3 important games in Manchester City, Chelsea, Arsenal. Strong possibility after 6 games he can only have 1 point.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, oh, look at that. Evil. That was evil. That was evil. The way you done that, you get that straight face and everything. I tell you something, people have been saying, isn't it typical West Ham that we can go to the Etihad and get something from this? It's typical West Ham when we're used to a typical West Ham. And we ain't used to typical West Ham because we're not typical West Ham right now. There literally looks like there is nothing there. Nothing. Rich?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, this season, I've struggled to take any positives. Under Bilic, I struggled to take any positives. Moyes has come in, struggled to take any positives. I mean, the Leicester game was slightly better in my opinion. And we were starting to look up a bit and say, you know what, maybe Moyes is actually starting to implement the strategies and the players are starting to catch on. But then we've literally gone straight back to square one with that performance against Everton. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a mess at the moment. I honestly don't see us getting anything from the next 3 games. But the bottom line is we need to get something from those games, else we could very well find ourselves bottom of the league by Christmas. And if we bottom at the league by Christmas, you know what it means. You're going down. Simple as that.
Yeah. Do either of you think that Moyes deserves any stick for last night? Because I'm of the opinion I'm of the opinion the players let him down. Because if you watch him when that third goal goes in, right? He's looking at Unsworth and he's getting fucking annoyed at Unsworth celebrating, and so he should. But he's shaking his head as if to say, they're not doing anything I fucking told them to do. He honestly, he looked as though he was not in control of that team. And the team let him down last night because there were some massive positives against Leicester, and then to go backwards, literally, we didn't even go backwards 1 step. We went back about 10 steps last night. That's the worst I've seen us this season.
I think I said it in our review of Everton game that absolutely the players don't go unscathed, but I'm getting just fed up of looking at a West Ham team that's the same on paper every single week, nearly for 50 games. I think it's something like that. Like the core of our team is nearly the same for the past 50 or 1.5 seasons. Like we're getting used to seeing the similar names that aren't performing week in and week out. And when a new manager comes in, gives you that bit of kind of belief that you're going to see some changes, some passion, some grit, some determination, and then you're not, and the team sheet reflects that for me. I get excited by looking at a team sheet, or I don't, and I don't get excited. Now I'm making that judgment based solely on putting the same players in, performing the same, and then looking at the tactical decisions that are getting made during the game. Why the hell are you putting youth on the bench if you're not going to use them? I don't buy this. They need experience to be in and around the squad. Give them the game time. You look at Everton, and on Wednesday night they gave their young boy another 5 minutes of a run out, and he's already had game time. They don't need to be doing that. They're a struggling team, but they're committing to giving players a chance to at least try something new.
They could afford him that time. Now they were 4-0 up.
But see, before that though, Dan, that boy's had time on the pitch already. He's already had time on the pitch before that game last night. So he's already had game time, and this is the biggest thing that frustrates me. We're looking at the same players week in, week out, playing the same formations. It's not working. Something needs to change, and that's where I think some of my annoyance comes at the manager.
Do you think a lot of that is to do with the lack of squad depth, though?
Absolutely.
The reason why we see the same players week in, week out is because we don't have enough man for man in each position.
We don't, and we knew that going into the season, and this is the other thing that can be the most frustrating thing.
And that's where you blame the board. That's where you blame the board.
Absolutely.
Because they should have been given that money so that we had all those bases covered.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean,
the players are too comfortable. The players are too comfortable because they know that they're not going to get dropped because there's no one ready to come in and fill their place. Going back to Moyes, I don't believe you can blame him that much for last night. I'm with you, Dan. I think the players need to catch a wake up. I was watching Moyes on the sideline, obviously on the TV, and Moyes was pulling his hair up, going absolutely mental on the side, shouting at almost every player. I think he must be thinking to himself, what have we been doing for the past week? We've trained the whole week in preparation for Everton, and the players are just throwing his plans out the window. Normally when a new manager comes to the club, you see a revival, even if it's a better performance, a little bit more positive to take. But for some reason at West Ham, we're the same old typical West Ham that we were in the Village. We haven't progressed yet. I'm still going to give Moyes some time, but that's really.
Yeah, and I don't want that. I think my point is there is some blame on Moyes because he's got 3 games. Yeah, he's going to, because one of the things he said was he came in and gave his opinion. You don't run, you don't do this. That was his biggest statement he made in the first press conference. You don't run, you don't perform, you don't train, you're not this, you're not that, you ain't going to play. Well, I've seen 3 games, and I've seen majority of our team do everything he said he does not want them to do, and they're still doing it.
He was frank after the game yesterday, though. He was honest after the game yesterday. He said we weren't at it. I don't know why. We trained hard. I got this team prepared for this game. They didn't turn up. Individual errors are costing us. He was honest after the game, and it was refreshing to see a manager come out and actually go, do you know what, the boys was shit.
Yeah, and I think
because we haven't had that.
I think there's been some talk today of him saying that, like, basically he's turning round. I don't know if this is what's true, the statement's come out, but he's basically turning around to players and going, this is your final warning, like, this is it, like, if you don't make the difference, things are going to change. And I think he's talking about purchases, but as I said in the review, I'm worried about the whole purchase situation in January, the January transfer window, because he's on a 6-month contract. Who's he going to buy? If he starts clearing up, which I have no problem with the Championship, is that the route?
Who wants to join us when we're bottom of the league?
Well, if you're in the Championship, you might.
Yeah, in the Championship it's a bit different because if you get relegated, you're still playing at the level you were playing at. But I mean, we need some young class players to come in, not Championship squad players. We need the rumour that there's £20 million to spend in January, mate. You can't buy fucking toilet roll to wipe players' arses with for that in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't buy a world class player for that in today's market. And I don't want to go on about the board again. I moan about them all the time, but it just shows you how out of touch they are. That they think a £20 million transfer kit is enough for this man to sign enough players to get the fucking job done and keep us in the league. They're so clueless, fucking clueless.
The manager that they've given 6 months contract to, do you know what I mean? It's just absolutely frustrating. It's so frustrating. Before we move on to team selections, there's a point I just want to bring up, and we were talking about this after we'd done the review the other night, is West Ham's 10-point plan that the board announced to us back in 2010. I've actually brought it up in front of me right now. So West Ham's 10-point plan, point number 1, appoint the right manager. Since they've been in charge, they've got rid of Zola, brought in Grant, Allardyce, Bilic, and now we're into David Moyes, with no confidence that he's probably going to be there in the summer.
We've recycled managers. Other than Bilic, we've recycled managers.
Yeah. Point number 2, sign new players. Yeah, I will not deny the fact they've signed new players. Okay, so do you know what? I won't even go into that. we can
But the one
debate about
world
that.
class player they signed though,
Yeah.
they've sold. So
we could go on all night about the fact that what players they've signed, etc.
Mm-hmm.
More investment in the academy, right? I'm gonna quickly pinpoint that. More investment in the academy. Yeah, maybe you've invested money, financial money, into the training facilities, etc. But that then gives me the impression that you want to bring the youth through the system, through to the first team, give them the opportunity. And I don't see that. I really, really don't see that at all.
the rumour is it costs £5 million a year to keep our academy up and running in the way it is.
Yeah.
If you're not going to bring players through, why don't you just save that £5 million and go put it towards a player? Do you know what I mean? If you're not going to give the youth a chance, then what's the fucking point?
What's the point in investing?
Exactly.
What's the point in investing if the players aren't going to? That's spot on that.
Number 4, continue to clear the debt. Yeah, do that. Great interest rates. Hope you're happy with all the money you're making. Thanks very much. Freeze season ticket prices for renewals. Again, I think we had this big discussion in one of our group chats about the high interest rates on some of the season tickets for the first season. So they made a lot of money from that. So
the trouble is, it's all well and good freezing those rates, but when no one wants to renew because it's so shit, then what's the fucking point anyway?
Build the status and image of the club. I mean, I don't know if they've done that. I reckon the Premier League has done that.
Do you reckon they've got the status in inverted commas as circus?
That's a good shout. Yeah,
Because they're doing a good job if that's the case.
Yeah. Point number 7. Are you ready for the point number 7? Make it enjoyable to come and watch. Isn't it laughable?
You can just make it laugh. Make it laugh. Simple.
Point number 8. Are you ready for this one? Get closer to the community. Do you mean piss off the community?
Yeah, because that's all they've done.
Yeah, that's all they've done. Point 9, well done. You follow through on this one. Go for the Olympic Stadium. Well done. And point number 10, are you ready for this one? Listen to the supporters. I mean, I'm bringing these points up solely for the fact that it was 7 years ago. I reckon they're probably kicking about social media. It's just to highlight that these points, this is why we're pissed off. And to add to that, the social media presence of the board, of the family, of the opinions they've got that completely make us fans either filled with so much joy that we're going to sign the best player in the world, or then we sign Zaza. Do you know what I mean? Like,
the biggest problem is because they said this 7 years ago, they think we've forgotten it. But what they seem to and fail to realise is that proper fans don't fucking forget anything you promise them.
Yeah, and
of course we don't.
And Dan, the thing is, they remind the fans every fucking day. Like, so yeah, Rich. I mean, we could talk about this all day, but what were you going to say?
Someone needs to literally, because it's what they've promised is absolutely unacceptable. That the fact that they've failed to deliver on these promises, I can't understand why someone hasn't done an interview and gone, this is literally what you said. Boom, 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 boom. You failed at that. You told the fans an absolute load of bollocks. But everyone seems to just have accepted it, and no one's been held accountable.
You know what
and
it is,
for me, go for it.
You know what it is though, Rich? What you're saying there, they wouldn't let someone in to talk about negative stuff. I tweeted out today saying, isn't it funny how we got absolutely humiliated last night and then there's radio silence on Twitter? They only fucking tweet when we win, or when someone tweets them something nice. Oh, David, you're doing such a good job. Yeah, I'll retweet that. But the minute someone calls him a cunt, he don't want to know.
Yeah,
the minute someone talks the truth, he doesn't care. Yeah. And that's half the trouble.
I'm sick and tired of Jack Sullivan going, I'm so sorry for that result. Wasn't good enough. We'll go back to the drawing board. Bullshit. I mean, I'm sick and tired of hearing that. Yeah. And then we hear that week in, week out, and the fans are just going, well, what's changing? Nothing.
One thing we do know that's going to change for the game on Sunday is our goalkeeping situation, as Joe Hart returns to his parent club, Manchester City, and he can't play because he's on loan to us, and the man himself, Adrian, steps back in beneath the sticks.
Adrian!
Adrian! So we know there's going to be a change, one change at least, which is positive because we're desperate for change. So,
especially after Joe Hart's howler last night.
Yeah, and
on Wednesday.
I mean, I'm struggling to defend him.
What is he doing?
Yeah, I'm struggling.
What is he doing there?
Just solely because of the amount of goals he's conceded. It's a lot of goals he's conceded. But Adrian steps back in. So Dan, thoughts on that?
Yeah, fuck it. He needs to be given a chance. Like I know this is kind of, we've been forced into this change because he's, you know, Joe Hart's on loan, but I've been calling for it since the game against Spurs. I've been calling for it anyway. You know, I think Joe Hart, although he's never really done anything tragically wrong until last night, he is a bit shy diving to his left. I don't know if anyone's noticed that. He's got issues diving to his left. His positioning's fucking all out of whack. And then last night, what on earth was he thinking? What was he thinking? To come out and clear the ball. There was no need. The ball was rolling towards him. There was no need.
Yeah.
And you know, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that Adrian can do?
Personally, I don't have a massive problem with Hart. I mean, as you've said, Dan, hasn't made any tragic errors. But I just, going back to when we bought him, I just don't see the point. I literally don't see the point. Adrian is a decent keeper. Yeah, he made a couple of mistakes last season. They're both good keepers, but I think we could have really invested money elsewhere, gone for, like, I know it was only a loan or whatever, but it was just a signing that we honestly didn't have to make. But one thing we do know is when Adrian comes in Sunday, he wears his heart on his sleeve, he will be barking at both centre-backs, both right-backs, he won't take any rubbish. Yeah. So I guess we can take positives from that. And Adrian knows if he puts in a decent shift, you know, maybe Hart will get dropped and Adrian will get more game time, so he'll be up for it, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, stats don't read that nice though. Adrian, Randolph, I'm trying to remember who was in goals for the last time we met them last year, because I think we played them 3 times last year and we conceded 12 goals, so history's not looking that great, to be honest. But yeah, we know there's one change. I'm happy that the change is getting made. I think Adrian has potentially got a point to prove. I think we're going to need someone on form, and he's got an opportunity here. He's got to take it literally with his 2 hands, and let's hope he uses both of his hands tomorrow on Sunday. So moving on, a player I want to bring up, been a lot of controversy over opinions on him, is former Manchester City player, Argentinian international, Zabaleta. For me personally, I think he's got a lot to answer to as a player. He is bombing forward, left, right and centre, and he's not tracking back, and I'm just making the blatant statement that the guy's legs have gone, and when he was playing for Manchester City, he could do that because he was getting his back covered, his arse covered every single game. Dan?
Yeah, I think a lot of it as well is he's still in his head, he still thinks he's the player he was. That's what I think a lot of it is, and he's not used to playing in a team that's struggling.
Yeah.
How often did Man City struggle? You know, and like you just touched upon it, and he always had great players behind him.
Yeah.
To look after him, you know, and he ain't got that. He definitely ain't got that with West Ham. Not with the way we're playing. We've got fucking Winston Reid coaching Ogbonna during the game, so he ain't got any time to help Zabaleta out. You know, I feel for him, but at the same time, it's one of them where it's just like, again, no options to come in, you know, for a bit of pace.
Yeah.
If anything, I'd have pushed Zabba in and played him as part of the 3 where we got them injuries, and then Byram could have played. But, you know, Byram's injured. It's always the same old story. If someone's not injured, we don't have anyone else to cover, so you're kind of left in this situation where you have to play him.
And I think that point was made the other day in the review. I think Stelios made the point by saying that in order to keep Zabaleta at the back, because he is a good defender, he would have to be playing in a back 3. But I mean, can we play in a back 3 against Manchester City, Rich?
Well, I'm not sure we can. I think when we bought Zaba in, we bought him for his defensive abilities. I mean, he's not, obviously, you guys have mentioned, he's not the player he used to be. He's not going to bomb on, overlap, and put in some dangerous crosses. He's not someone like Arthur Masuaku or Cresswell who can get forward. But, I mean, Cresswell, of late, I used to think he had pace, but he is. I don't understand. He's actually much, much slower than people think. He gets done down that side. But I think maybe 3 centre backs and two wing backs. We're gonna have to be as compact as possible. Zaba has to play on the right. As Dan's mentioned, Byram would be a great option to have if he was fit, because he brings that legs, he brings a bit of pace. But I personally, I don't know how to stop Man City. I don't think any Premier League club knows how to stop Man City, because if they did, City wouldn't be top of the league, 13 wins from 14, absolutely obliterating every defence in the league.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult one. I don't even know who's fit. We know Collins is out, Font is out, Ogbonna is calamity.
It's awful. He'd be as well.
Reece potentially out as well, isn't he? Because he pulled up with his hamstring.
Yeah. So we just don't know who's fit and who's available for our defence, which is a massive problem.
Yeah, and I think it is going to be a problem. And maybe, I don't know, I was thinking about this last night, where a lot of people have been calling for Declan Rice, and I just didn't. I mean, I understand he had to play last night, but again, I feel sorry for players like that, because it's like you're coming in and you're what, were we not already down 3 or 4-0? It's just like he's coming into a game and he's just got to defend.
He's on a hiding to nothing, really.
Yeah.
Someone on Twitter tried to blame him for 2 of the goals.
What, Declan Rice?
Yeah, he came on when we were 3-0 down, so how can he be blamed for 2 goals? Honestly, mental. Some people just, honestly, they watch the game with their eyes closed, I swear.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And I think another thing as well is when you're talking about Ogbonna and Reid, and a lot of people were saying that they were constantly passing the ball back and forth, and they were. And I tried my best to stick up. I'm not Ogbonna's fan at all. I'm not a fan of Ogbonna, but he did get the ball, he looked up, and he panics on the ball, but he looked up to see what was available, and not a single player made a run, got in place, got in view for him, made the space. And for me, this is the biggest thing that's pissing me off, and it's happening every single week, is exactly what I've just said. No one's making the run. Rich, you flew all the way over from Johannesburg last year to watch us play Hull when the goalpost got man of the match, and we sat and we watched the game together, and I said to you, because we had a great view looking over it and we could totally kind of assess the game, look how static our side is, look how static we are. Every single other side we play, I guarantee they must look at our side and go, they don't move, they make no movement whatsoever. So I find that if they've got no pace, they don't move, then we attack all of those negatives, and then bang, we're going to either get a draw or a result, or we're going to lose by being unlucky.
Do you know what annoys me the most is that we play holding midfielders, right? But the space between the centre backs and the holding midfielders is so big, and they never ever think to naturally drop in and pick that ball up. The holding player is there to do that dirty work. Look at N'Golo Kante. He gets in, he nips away at the ankles, he wins the ball back, and if he's not doing that, usually defenders are so comfortable to just feed it straight to him because they know he's good on the ball, he'll look up, he'll pick a pass, whether it's 5 yards, 10 yards, 60 yards, he can ping balls. Who actually has any confidence that our holding players can do that? They could just about hold on to the ball when they've got it. It's woeful. The distance is massive, and that's why, as much as we all hate it, you can't actually come down on Ogbonna and Reid for passing side to side because they've got nowhere else to go.
They haven't got anywhere else to go.
Absolutely.
They genuinely don't.
Part of the reason that Ogbonna panics is because he doesn't know what to do with the ball.
Yeah.
Because Obiang is so, he has no confidence, and he doesn't want the ball. He does not want the ball. He'd rather run around, and track players than actually show. Ogbonna's literally crying out for Obiang to go, just give it to me at my feet, I'll turn. But because Obiang and Kyoto haven't been at the races, they were decent against Leicester, but last night against Everton, they were nowhere, and Ogbonna is going, okay, I'm either going to have to play it back to Joe Hart, I'm going to play it between Reid 5 or 6 times, or I'm just going to have to hoof it up to no one because Ayew was up top.
But he has no ability. He has no ability whatsoever. Yeah. It was the most random thing I'm going to pick up on here, but there was a moment when the ball came up from the Everton kicked the ball up and Winston Reid headed it back to Joe Hart. He was under pressure from 2 Everton players, but his calmness, the way he dealt with that was perfect, the way that any defender needs to do it. When that situation happens with Ogbonna, it's a panic, it's always a panic, and you can see Winston Reid getting really frustrated, and I do think Winston Reid steps out of position solely because he's got to cover all the time. So people are looking at Winston Reid as a whole thinking, what are you doing concentrating on his position? But you've got to look at every single position in the back line, and for me personally, Winston Reid's doing the job of 4 defenders, because I actually think the rest of them are just totally leaving him and throwing him under the bus. And I would be surprised if we end up losing a player like Winston Reid, which we really don't want to be doing. We could be losing everyone if we go down next year. We don't want to be thinking about that, but if we move up to midfield, a point I want to bring up, and I'm really kind of shocked that I'm probably going to say it, and I've been thinking loads about this today, is our midfield. Everyone's thinking about our midfield, everyone's thinking about the performance of Kouati, Obiang, Lanzini, all the players that are there, and the man that's been getting a lot of stick all season is Mark Noble. I'm just bringing this as an interesting point of view, but how can you watch Kouati and Obiang as a manager who are not performing week in, week out just now, I'm Kouate's biggest fan. I really am. I do think he maybe thinks he's got a guaranteed place in the team. Obiang got pulled off in the midfield. Surely,
I want to touch on that.
Surely, we just drop Kouate and Obiang, and we give Noble that responsibility, put him inside Lanzini, and bring it back, and just go back to those basics. Now I understand, but the thing, because I seen your reaction there, Rich, and I'm kind of on the same level as you as well. But the biggest thing I want to say is, at least Noble looks for the ball, because he does look for the ball. Yeah, he sprays it sideways, sometimes he sprays it back. But currently the midfielders in our team are doing nothing. Obiang grabbed the ball again and tried to spray a ball across wide, and it went out for another throw-in. And I think at least Mark Noble has the ability to create space, and I think we're needing that ability to create space and the passion. Dan, you've got a point.
Well, you were just saying about Kouate and him feeling invincible in that team, feeling like he ain't going to be dropped. I was actually surprised it wasn't him that got dragged off at half-time yesterday. He was in the wrong for the second goal. He honestly, I've never seen someone run back like that and not give a fuck. How did Wayne Rooney ghost him behind him? It's fucking ridiculous, mate. You should be looking over your shoulder. You should know where that player is. Made no effort, and then when the goal went in, there was no reaction from him. He just turned around, started trotting back to the halfway line. It's fucking woeful. He should have been the one taken off. I don't understand what makes him head so special and in the manager's eyes, head and shoulders above Obiang. They're both struggling, don't get me wrong, but for me last night, up until half time, Obiang had done more than Kouate, and he hadn't made mistakes. Yeah, a few passes had gone amiss, but he hadn't made any mistakes like Kouate had, letting someone in for a goal. It's a joke. It's not right.
Yeah,
not right at all.
Rich,
it's unfortunate because we have 3 centre midfielders that are, for one, low on confidence, not performing well. So David Moyes has basically got to choose the two of the 3. You know, it's so difficult because all 3 of them at the moment aren't good enough, aren't playing well enough. This whole season I've been slagging off Mark Noble from day one, going he should never be in the starting 11. But then again, Obiang and Kouate, since they've been in the centre of midfield, I can't say that we've been a better improved team in any way, really. So personally, I would still start Adrian and Kouate because we need legs in the midfield against a team like City. I think Noble would get would absolutely get the run around against the likes of Sane, De Bruyne, and also just passing back for me every single time he gets a ball is one of the most annoying things as a fan. So I personally still start Adrian and Kouate, but Moyes needs to literally give those 2 a kick up the backside, because if they go missing against City, game over before the game even starts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's so much frustration there. We were talking to Luke on the review, and Luke's been properly sticking up for Arnautovic, and I kind of agree with what he's been saying the past couple of games, because I did see a bit of a change in Arnautovic in Leicester. And I don't know, maybe it was harsh, maybe it wasn't harsh that he got pulled off at the time that he did. Or when he did, or who, I don't know. What was your thoughts on Arnautovic coming off, actually, Dan?
I would have pulled Massa off. I didn't think Masuaku did enough last night. And then you could have pushed Arnautovic over on the left, which is his more natural role. Yeah. He's far more comfortable on that left wing. The one thing I'll say about him, he wasn't amazing, but at least he was running at people. At least he was having a go. He put a couple of balls in as well that were dangerous. It's just his teammates let him down. Yeah. No one was busting a gut to get on the end. No one, we didn't pack the box enough at any time when he was putting balls in there. And I felt sorry for him at some points in the game. Everton defended well. They defended a few of his crosses very, very well. But at least he showed some, ingenuity. At least he tried something, which is more than we could say about some of the others. Masuaku is literally a knock it past and run after it and hope that the ball gets a little bit of lift on it. Don't get me wrong, I still think Massa's got some time to grow, and I think he could turn into a good left winger, but essentially what he does is he just runs past people and tries to get the best cross possible in. At least with Arnautovic, he's got a bit of skill. He's got a little bit of something about him, and he's strong. He's actually quite a big player to be playing out on that wing. And I think you play him in his stronger position, maybe he can cut in on that right foot and get some shots off, which is something we're struggling for at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Masuaku's got some good feet, I'll give him that, and he's got blistering pace. But what we've seen in the last couple of games is his delivery has just not been good enough. He's getting into the right positions, but his crossing has just let him down every single time. If he can just work on his crossing, I think he can be a lethal left winger for us. I really do, because he's got the skill to beat players. He's got the pace for the likes of Aubameyang to just put one in behind defenses and he can run on. He'll get there. He's one of the quickest in our team, I reckon. It's just that final ball. It's that final ball that set us down. And unfortunately against Everton, we didn't really have a target man until Saka came on. When we have Ayew, there's no one to aim at. Masuaku was crossing into a box that was empty. I mean, I think Ayew was the only one in the middle. When you've got that, I mean, you're on a hiding to nothing, really.
Yeah, and I think it's the same thing we've been saying all along. Like, when you play a striker for West Ham, if you're going to put him up top himself, like, really, what is the use? Like, I don't see the purpose in it. Now, there are a few potential players coming back from injury. We've seen one last night come on as a substitution, and that's Antonio. And we don't know what the story is, but we're thinking, is Chicharito trained this week with West Ham? Is there an outside chance he's going to get a run out on Sunday? Are they going to risk him for that game with the two big games coming up against Chelsea and Arsenal, Dan?
If Carroll's fit, they won't play him. Carroll's a Moyes player. But even Carroll wouldn't have affected things against Everton because the balls in the box weren't good enough.
Yeah.
And Carroll's got this annoying habit at the minute of standing on the edge of the fucking box. What are you doing? Yeah. You're not that player, all right? Just get in the box and make it hard for the defenders. He's got this weird habit of just drifting all over the pitch at the minute, and he's not good enough to be doing that. But Carroll goes straight back in the team if he's fit, because Moyes loves that sort of player. And I think he may be thinking that we need a bit of muscle up top again, and just try and unsettle their defence.
So just kick the ball up there.
Just scoop it up and over.
Yeah, I mean,
but the thing is, it'd be a couple of naughty challenges up there. If he wins a few headers, City defenders, don't matter what defender you are. Someone starts winning headers each and every time a ball goes up, you start to think twice. Like, actually, can I beat this geezer?
And you make a valid point. I tell you what, a lot of people slag off at Andy Carroll because in the first couple of minutes, the only thing I've got an issue with Andy Carroll is for that sending off against Burnley, because he'd done the exact same carbon copy tackle 1 minute straight after he'd done it and got booked for it.
My biggest issue is that he doesn't score enough goals.
I know, but I'm mentioning the fact that he rustles up. I'm not talking about his form, but the fact that he rustled up that defence. That's not my issue with Andy Carroll. Because in actual fact, I quite like it. Because yesterday or on Wednesday, we could have totally done with that sort of, no one was stepping in for the tackle, and I think that's why you see that side of Andy Carroll, like getting a bit frustrated. I know it's not ideal, but some of the stuff he's doing, I'm not massively arsed about the fact that he's getting stuck in on a tackle. I don't think none of them are career threatening to the opposition. So he's getting stuck in and he's letting them know that they're there. And that's what he does. So if he's going to play, then I think it's going to be something that's come to our advantage because no one else is making a tackle. But Dan, we know your opinion on.
I'll go on, Rich.
I personally think Andy could do a job at City because I watched the Southampton game against City. I watched the highlights and they were struggling with set pieces, Man City. Southampton should have scored 2 goals. I think it was, I'm not sure who their centre-back was, not Van Dijk, the centre-back partner hit the bar from a set piece. And Maya Yoshida should have scored as well from a set piece. So if there's any weakness we can find, maybe even if it's the smallest weakness, it's set pieces. And I think Carroll, if he's fit, which he might not even be, he can probably exploit that. So yeah. maybe that's an avenue where we can get a goal or two.
I mean, guys, it's really tough. Again, we're back to kind of square one when it comes to thinking about who's actually going to play, what formation we're going to play. Because under Moyes, we've literally not seen the same team again, have we? I think that was maybe due to unfortunate circumstances because Carroll was injured, and if he wasn't injured, he would have been playing. Therefore, we'd have seen a second week in a row of the same players. But this week, we're in a situation again where something's going to change. Adrian's coming in. Antonio's fit, so does Antonio start for you, Dan?
Yeah, definitely. Right. He gives you something that team hasn't got, and that's pace and power.
Yeah,
and that's something that team doesn't have at the moment. It lacks that massively, and I think someone has to be sacrificed. For me, it's probably Masuaku. Yeah. Might be slightly controversial because Masuaku's got pace and he might be able to help going backwards, but I don't know. If you're going to take anything from the game, you've got to have your best attacking players on there as well as your best defending players. You've got to have a strong front three, and I think Antonio Arnautovic and one of our strikers, that's a strong front three. Yeah. Play Arnautovic on the left hand side. You play Antonio on his strong right side. there's not many players in world football that can keep up with Antonio. I don't know if anyone see it last night. He went past a few people, against Everton. He busted a gut to get in the box at one point. He does make a difference. He was quiet, but that was to be expected. We were 3-0 down, but he does make a difference. And I think he has to come straight back in for us.
And again, we're probably not going to find out probably for a late fitness test. And even if he is going to be fit, is Chicharito going to start?
Not
I think it's too soon.
Yeah.
I think it's just a bit too soon for Chicha to come straight back in. If he is fit, he'll probably be on the bench.
Yeah.
Come on for the last 30, maybe.
And we're looking at players like Martinez, the youth sitting on the bench, Declan Rice. The fact that if Carroll, Chicharito are fit and are going to be on the bench, where does that catapult Martinez? Rich?
I don't know.
Or
If Fernandez is fit and has a place on the bench, then I think Martinez will just drop out completely, unfortunately.
does it not piss you off with the fact that he's not even had 8
really,
minutes game time? Not even
it
a
really
minute.
does. I'm with you. I know how upset you are with Antonio Martinez not getting any game time. I'm with you. Why put him on the bench if he's not going to play? Personally, I'd rather have him over Sacco, because Sacco couldn't give a donkey, really. Rather give a youngster a chance. I honestly think Martinez could bring just as much to the game as Sacco did. Honestly. So, personally, I think he'll drop straight out. I think if Chicharito's fit, Martinez will drop straight back to under-23s, which is, for me, a massive waste of time. Why even put him on the bench then? What a waste.
Yeah. Guys, it's coming close to that time where we're not going to do predictions. We'll do predictions, we're not going to guess the team because we have no idea what's going to happen. We know some changes are going to take place. But just to read some more stats for you, City have scored 32 goals in the last 11 games against West Ham. City have won 8 of the last 9 home games against West Ham. David Moyes has lost his last 4 games against City, and Raheem Sterling has scored winners in the last 10 minutes of the last 3 games. God, there's so many negative stats there, but see when you try and read back to any positive stats regarding West Ham and Man City, you're going back into the early noughties, late 90s. And see, to be honest, growing up as a kid, I remember them. I remember some of our victories against Manchester City. They were great. Like, I remember Jerome Bouer, who played for us, the big centre forward. I don't know if it was a Belgium forward, scoring a great goal against them. And then Niall Quinn was playing for Man City, and you had all the challenges and the heart from Ian Bishop playing against his former team. We don't have that in our side anymore, and it's massively frustrating. So, because we're coming up to the end of it, we go back to this crazy time where we make the predictions of the game on Sunday. Who wants to go first?
Go on, Rich. Go on.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's go. Look, I honestly, as much as I love to try and be as positive as possible, I honestly don't see us getting anything from the game. So I reckon City to win. I'm not gonna. It's so difficult because I don't know how many goals they're going to score. I'd love for us to go there and get a point. I think that would be absolutely world class. That would be results of the season. I think City 3-1. Hopefully we get a goal, but I think they'll just be way too strong for us. Dan?
Over to you, Dan.
I'm trying to get the betting app up at the minute because I was just going to have a little gander.
I have seen something somewhere today, and I don't know if I've misread it. West Ham are in the 20s.
Yeah, for us to get a win, and you'd have to be a fucking lunatic to do that. But I'm looking at
worth a couple of quid for West Ham fans. So, it depends on where you go. It's 20-1.
So I'm definitely going with a City win. And I'm gonna have a tenner on over 6.5 goals. 7-1. So fuck it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? Yeah. But no, if we're actually talking about a score, 5-0 City. Do you know what? A lot of people may think I'm mad, and it's because we're down as West Ham fans that I'm saying 5-0 to City. What I'm saying, right? I talk about it. The majority of the time I come on here with you, I watch all of the Premier League. I have to because of my channel, and City. There's something we can't do at the minute, and that's retain possession, and we can't pass, and especially can't pass under pressure. And anybody that's watched City this year knows that when they lose the ball, they close down in units, 2s and 3s. They don't even have to touch you, and they get the ball back. And if they apply that sort of pressure against us, they are going to murder us. We've got someone at the back like Bonner that makes mistakes. They're just going to nick the ball off him, run straight at us and put it in the back of the net. We lack pace, we lack desire. There's no passion in the team, and that City team are going to... They ain't going to get out of second gear, and they're going to murder us, and it's going to be 5-0. I just feel that with the way they close the ball down, how intense they are, we ain't going to be able to match it. Even if we turn up and have a good day, I don't think we'll be able to match it. So, City with me.
I don't know. I really want to be positive because I'm actually making the journey to Manchester. I'm taking my dad. I'm taking my nephew for his first ever West Ham game. So
he'll be a City fan by the time it's finished.
I know, but you know what? I'm hoping the fans. The big thing for me is the fans get behind the team, and we give my nephew and me an opportunity for him to be able to enjoy it and have a right good sing song, because we're West Ham at the end of the day, and that's what we do. I fear for us on Sunday, I really do, because people say it's typical West Ham. It's not typical West Ham right now, it's really not. It's further from a typical West Ham, and I genuinely do have that fear factor that we're going to concede a lot of goals. I'm scared to think the amount of goals we're going to concede, to be honest. But if I have to put a score on it, I really want to see a West Ham win. Can't see it, so I'm going to go for a City 3-0 win, and I think I'm being kind. I think I'm being really kind. It's really tough, but hey guys, that's
just before you wrap up, can we just touch on the fans last night and how amazing they were? Because if any of them are tuning in and watching this, round of applause to you. My brother-in-law actually went last night to that, and he was telling me that it cost him 200 quid for the travel ticket and the hotel. And imagine spending 200 quid and watching that shower of shit. To say he was depressed today, texting me, would be an understatement. But fair play to them fans getting behind, because they sung to the final fucking minute of that game. They were quality.
Absolutely, and I know one of the action points from that real West Ham fans group is going to be that they want to take full allocation for away games, and this is what the fans are getting pissed off with. If the board speak out sometimes and just say the biggest do you know what? Just I'm not saying an apology would make it all different, but it would fucking help. An apology would actually help. It's a starting point, and turning around to their fans and going, do you know what? There's a refund. Because we are shit, so there's a refund for your money, and that's another start. So it's simple processes. You're making a lot of money, so turn around and go, there you go, give something back to the fans. Anyway, that's something else, and we could go off on one. It's so frustrating, but yeah, Dan, what a shout out! Like, you guys, listen, do me a favour. Any of you want to come on the show, and please, and Dan and Rich, and we'll always back it up as well. We all run this channel together. There's not one person behind it. Everyone runs this channel together. It's all about giving West Ham community a voice. Every single person comes on, whether you're pro board, anti board, pro whatever. Just come on and give us a chance. And
with that being said, feel free to contact us on our personal accounts if you can't get through on Irons United, which it would be weird if you didn't, because we're on there regularly. But feel free to contact us individually if you want, and we'd love to get people on and their point of view,
and make sure you comment below. On all our comments. We have some really exciting content on the way, especially for the new year, so please make sure you subscribe to the channel. This is our first year. We're how many? 3 months in, and I think things are looking quite good. We're getting quite good feedback, so just let us know what you think, any changes you want to make. Big shout out to Dan for the new outlay in the back of our channel. But it wouldn't be our show if we didn't do our new thing that we do, or the new thing that I created for some random reason, which is, and I think I'm just going to give it 30 seconds, so we're going to go for a 30-second rant, anything West Ham. And Dan, because you put the pressure on to Rich, we'll start with you. So 30 seconds, starting from now, go.
I usually use this time to fucking murder the board, but today I'm not. Today is a message to the players, and that they need to sort their fucking selves out. On Sunday, I want to see a performance. I want to see a bit of fucking passion, a bit of desire, a bit of drive. I'd like to see the back four do what they're paid to do, and that's defend. And I'd like to see the forwards do what they're paid to do and score some fucking goals. And that is all I need to say. As far as I'm concerned, I moan about everyone but the players, but now is the time for the players to step up.
Wow, excellent. 3 seconds to go. Well done, Dan. Rich, mate, I couldn't agree with it. I agree with everything you said there. So, Rich, 3, 2, 1, 30 seconds, go.
Wow, okay, Man City away. Good luck, Ant, for that. Look, I think that game's going to be literally damage limitation. Just try and not concede 5-6 goals, because that will hurt our goal difference So let's just go there. Fans are going to be amazing as usual. Players, give them something to sing about, for flip's sakes, please. Like, just wear a bit of heart on your sleeve. Just try. Just put in some effort. If we nick a goal, stay compact. We know how good City are. They are a world-class team. They will battle
and that's you
on their day. But let's just go there. Cool.
Right, and I'll give you my 30 seconds.
Go for it, mate.
Yeah. Absolutely, just back up what these two guys have just said. I'm going to the game, so let's just give West Ham, let's have a party, let's make it a party atmosphere. And I back up everything you said, Dan and Rich, about the players. It's now time. I'm all about bored out. I'm all about bored out. I'll continually say it all day long, but those players have been a disgrace, and it's time to turn around, wear your heart on your sleeves, wear our crest on your sleeves, because we are so passionate about our club. We love our club. Give us something and we'll give you something back.
Yeah.
Bosh. Guys, we've been Irons United. That's been Rich. That's been Dan. I've been Anton. Come on, you Irons.